In today's video, we have some NHL trade rumors to discuss, including updates on Artemi, Panarin, Justin Faulk, and Jeff Skinner. We have some new signings to discuss as well, including Brady Skjei and Tom Wilson. All that and more coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned off the top, we have a lot to cover today between some signings and some trade rumors, so let's jump right in as we have a lot to go over here. Let's start here with the signings that were just announced between last night and today. First up, let's talk about Brady Skjei and the New York Rangers. They've come to a 6-year contract, about $5.25 million per year. I think this is a pretty good deal. They were waiting for arbitration, so they're able to get this settled on their own, which is fantastic, and avoid that process, which is good for everybody involved. So based on Brady Skjei's performance here the last few years, I think he's really stepped up and has an opportunity to be a top defenseman for the Rangers for a long time. If you look at some other D-men between that $5 to $6 million range, I think it's certainly fair that he compares to a lot of them, not only statistically, but what he brings to the lineup. So overall, I like this contract for the Rangers and Brady Skjei, and I fully suspect him to become a top D for them for a long time. Now, next up, we have Tom Wilson and the Washington Capitals. Now, this deal I feel a little differently about. They gave him over $5 million for over 5 years, which is absolutely insane when you think about it. Yes, he did have a career year last year, put up 14 goals, had a pretty good point production in the playoffs as well. But again, this is another case, I think, of a player having a career season and getting a big contract and only to disappoint down the road. At least that's what I think. If you're a Caps fan or a Tom Wilson fan, certainly feel free to debate this down in the comments. I'd like to hear your thoughts. But I think that they way grossly overpaid here. I mean, yes, he does play a decent sized role for them. He plays a lot in the top two lines, plays a fair bit with Ovechkin. But at the same time here, I mean, he just has not earned that type of deal. You look at some other players like a Mike Hoffman, Nazem Kadri, even a new deal this year for JT Miller. Like, they're all kind of in that same money or less, and they're putting up way more offensive production than he brings. Plus, you could look, he's only making about $500,000 less than TJ Oshie on his, one of his, the closest teammate I think I can find to kind of compare to contract-wise. Recent signing about a year ago, and really DJ Oshie brings a lot more offense, and I think is a way more important player to your lineup than Tom Wilson, in my opinion. If you had to pick between one of them sitting out, pretty sure you're going to want TJ Oshie in the lineup. So those are my thoughts. I think they overpaid here by a fair bit. So I'd like to know what your thoughts are down below, but I really don't think they're going to like this contract here before too long. There's some other free agent kind of rumors floating around as well about some guys that might find deals here. We have Mike Cammalleri, who's an unsigned player. There was some speculation he may retire. Apparently, there's an opportunity for him over in the KHL. His former head coach here, Bob Hartley, where they were together in Calgary. Bob Hartley has invited him to go over to the KHL and play for the team that he's coaching over there. Yet to see if that's going to happen or not, but he does have an option to go play in the KHL. Toby Enstrom, another defenseman here, formerly of the Winnipeg Jets, yet to find work in the NHL. Certainly has options overseas as well, but is trying to find NHL work before he decides to commit to that. But if he does end up going overseas, he likely doesn't come back. His NHL career probably comes to an end. Another veteran, Scotty Hartnell, also looking for work, but is also contemplating retirement, apparently. He may not return to the NHL this coming season. I mean, I guess if he gets the right deal on a one-year contract, maybe, but speculation is that he's heading towards retirement. Now, one more veteran to touch on quickly is the Columbus Blue Jackets center iceman, Mark Letestu. Obviously, he was traded to Columbus last year at the deadline. I thought he fit in okay, had some good games, but obviously the team didn't quite accomplish what they were looking for. They have opted not to re-sign him during this offseason. Apparently, Nashville and Philadelphia are both showing interest, maybe thinking of him as a possible fourth-line center or maybe like a 13th forward depth piece for the a longer season here to cover for injuries or potential playoff run, whatnot. He's obviously not going to be an impact player, but as you get deeper into the season, deeper into the playoffs, you do need some depth. So it is possible here that one of these teams might take a low-risk contract here on Mark Letestu. Now, jumping over to the trade rumors I want to discuss, let's get started here with the Carolina Hurricanes. Obviously, they've got two names here that have been on the market for quite some time. That's Jeff Skinner and Justin Faulk. Now, obviously, these guys have been in the rumor mill basically since the season ended. It's been made clear that Tom Dundon wants to change a lot about this team, change how they play, whatnot. So there's going to be change, but they really haven't done too much outside of the deal at the draft with the Calgary Flames. Obviously, a little bit in free agency, but not a whole lot either. So with the rumors going around here, basically there's some bigger names, as we know, on the market that has not been moved. It's kind of holding things up. That's playing a role. But part of this I've seen as well is that the Carolina Hurricanes are really trying to acquire a top center iceman. That is one area of their team that they are lacking some depth at. They don't really have a top 1 or 2 center. I mean, they do have some younger players who can kind of fit into that role. But, they're kind of younger players that they'd probably rather play lower in the lineup. From what I've been reading, teams are quite reluctant to give up a top center for Jeff Skinner. They might just very well wait and try to chase him through free agency, or there's at the same time those teams that are interested in Skinner are also interested in some of these other wingers, like Max Pacioretty, for example, or another guy, Panarin, which we're going to talk about here momentarily. And maybe they're trying to see where those dominoes fall before they're willing to pay a bigger price for these guys. Out of the two, I think it's possible Skinner might just stay with the team and go into training camp on that last year of his contract, maybe be traded in season or at the deadline. But the one team that still seems to be connected to Justin Faulk is the Chicago Blackhawks. Obviously, as we know, they cleared some space not long ago with the Marian Hossa contract going to Arizona. So we'll see. I mean, they do seem to have some interest, but I don't see them, offering up a top center like a Nick Schmaltz or something. I don't think that deal makes a lot of sense for them. They'd strengthen one area and weaken another, but that's just my opinion. I think they'd probably prefer to move Artemi, but that so far has not worked out. But the Hawks are the main team that's been showing interest in Justin Faulk. I've seen rumors about Toronto as well. I think Toronto has other business to take care of right now. Personally, I think between getting some of these extensions worked out between Matthews and Marner, they're going to get a contract in place for William Nylander. Obviously, it's kind of odd in my opinion why that hasn't come to be as of yet so late into the summer. Should be a fairly easy deal for them to work out, but apparently it's not as easy as that. So they've got that to work on, and I think they're likely going to go into the season with the existing defense core that they have. If things aren't working out or if they're really lacking on the back end, perhaps we'll see them make a move in season. But I would not be surprised to see the Maple Leafs go to training camp with what they have right now. Now, last but not least, I want to talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets sniper Artemi Panarin. Now, as we know, this is quite a long story here. It's been dragging on for a few weeks. He wasn't interested in signing a contract extension. There's been rumors that the Blue Jackets are trying to shop him now as they don't want to risk losing him for nothing. We've seen General Manager Jarmo Kekalainen have meetings with Panarin overseas during the summer here. They were told that the meetings went well, but no real progress on a contract extension. We've seen Panarin say he doesn't want to talk about any off-ice business beyond September 13th. So obviously that could be a problem if they can't get something done before the season starts. And he doesn't want to discuss it once the season ends. Well, at that point, he's pretty close to free agency, and the risk just keeps getting higher and higher the longer this drags out. But the one team that I've seen here that kind of emerged to be the front runner that makes the most sense to me, if he's going to be traded, that would kind of have the assets to offer up and the cap space to offer him a good long-term extension, would be the San Jose Sharks. Now, the Sharks are a team we've talked about a lot as far as making a big splash this summer. It's kind of yet to happen. They were in on Tavares, but never came to be. They do have some room. They do have some flexibility. Based on what we've heard about Panarin and where he wants to play and his preferences and everything moving forward, I think it's quite possible that they could kind of check off a lot of the boxes of what he's looking to do. Plus, like I said, they can make it happen between the assets and the cap space. So for me right now, the San Jose Sharks are the front runner to land Panarin. Should the Columbus Blue Jackets get real serious here about making a move, I know they've kind of tested the trade markets a little bit, but I'm not sure how serious discussions have gotten at this point in time. I think obviously their preference would be to keep him, and I think they're still trying to figure out if that's a possibility. But in my opinion, the Sharks are the team to watch should a deal be made. Now, if you're new to the channel here, hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.